We are kicking off with the WWE Hall of Fame as Lex Luger will be inducted this year, and there has been a debate as to who will induct the former WCW World Champion. According to Fightful Select, Luger and those in his circles have informed WWE that Sting is their preferred choice, and now WWE has been making efforts to bring Sting in. The obvious obstacle here is that Sting remains under contract with AEW despite retiring from in-ring action at last year's Revolution pay-per-view. Sting's contract with AEW is said to be similar to a WWE Legends deal, but there have been signs that the Icon could be making a return to WWE after all. It's been reported that Sting has expanded his previously short travel plans for Las Vegas, suggesting that he will be doing something big over WrestleMania week. Sting and Luger are longtime friends, with this friendship often being referenced in WCW, and it was a phone call with Sting that led to Luger jumping to WCW on the first Monday Nitro. It's worth remembering that Tony Khan did allow AEW talent to appear via videos on Raw in 2022 to send well wishes to John Cena, who was celebrating 20 years since his debut. WWE has been able to strike deals in the past, as in 2012, they were able to get Ric Flair, who was with TNA at the time, to appear for the Hall of Fame for the induction of the Four Horsemen. To pay back TNA, WWE allowed for Christian to appear at that year's Slammiversary, and perhaps WWE will owe AEW something if Tony Khan lets Sting appear. Sting was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016, and soon we'll see his friend receive the same honor, but what role Sting plays in the induction of his ally remains to be seen. Last year, WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg confirmed that he'll wrestle for the final time in 2025, but since then, there have been few official updates on his plans. Though many had predicted a showdown with Gunther, that is yet to be confirmed, and during the Ariel Helwani show, Goldberg gave some big updates about his final match. When asked about potential opponents, Goldberg set his expectations high, as he pointed out that, "I never got my chance to get my hand around Cena's throat." In addition to Cena, Goldberg also discussed a rematch with Roman Reigns, as well as facing someone younger like Braun Breaker, calling the Raw superstar a logical solution. Whoever Goldberg plans on facing in his final match, it won't be happening just yet, as on the show he revealed that he's not cleared to wrestle at this time. When asked for a time frame for his final match, Bill said, "I don't have any idea," and shared that he got stem cell therapy less than 6 weeks ago that he needs to fully recover from. This recovery period has been the longest period of time Goldberg has been out of a gym that he can remember, and for now, a time when fans can expect his match remains a mystery. After a dozen years, Goldberg returned to wrestling in 2016, but many of his matches since then have fallen short of the expectations of some fans. Goldberg's infamous battle with The Undertaker remains a painful memory for many, but Bill isn't going to let his haters get to him, as he explained on the podcast. "The detractors? No, they can't get to me. Everyone as a human cares what others think. You have to care about how they express their thoughts towards you. And if it's negative, you have to learn to turn it into a positive. For me, it's just fuel. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of going out there and being better than I was yesterday. If people don't think I'm worthy of the position I'm in, of being Goldberg or of achieving what I've achieved, then the next thing I'm going to do is show them." Whether fans love him or hate him, Goldberg has left a legacy in wrestling, and while his final match will come this year, there are still plenty of questions about his farewell to the ring. But who do you think should be Goldberg's final opponent? Should Bill win his last match or go out putting somebody else over? Share your thoughts on this down in the comments section. Now, Joe Hendry may be the TNA World Champion, but he's appeared several times for WWE over the past year, and his next appearance has now been confirmed. On his Instagram, Hendry confirmed that he'll appear at the WWE World at WrestleMania convention in Las Vegas alongside legends and other current-day superstars. This news comes amid speculation that Hendry will team with Jey Uso on next week's Raw, which will be in Hendry's homeland of Scotland. Whatever happens remains to be seen, but it's clear that fans will get plenty more of Joe Hendry as part of the WWE-TNA partnership. Earlier this year, Josh Alexander's time with TNA Wrestling came to an end, and it was reported by Fightful Sean Ross Sapp shortly after that all signs point to him joining AEW. Alexander is expected to be All Elite despite the allure of a reunion of the North with Ethan Page in NXT, but despite this, fans haven't seen the walking weapon in AEW just yet. During a Fightful Select Q&A, Sean Ross Sapp was asked about Alexander and said while he's still expected to sign with AEW, there has been a holdup related to his visa. One source claimed that Alexander is likely working on getting his visa sorted so he can continue competing in the US, but for now, he is wrestling in his native Canada. That is why fans recently saw Alexander at Maple Leaf Pro's Mayhem Night 2 event in Windsor, as the Canadian wouldn't need to worry about a visa for the event. Alexander is a former TNA World Champion who did a lot when with that promotion, and anticipation continues to grow for his arrival in AEW, thanks in part to this delay. It was in 2022 that Saraya returned to the ring after close to 5 years in retirement, and since then the British star has had dozens of matches for AEW. Now though, the former Women's World Champion has teased the end of her career once more, as when speaking to Sports Illustrated, Saraya acknowledged that she won't wrestle forever. Saraya went even further, saying that, "I'm coming to the end of her in-ring career," and said that her retirement will be very soon. Thinking positively, Saraya said that she doesn't want to end her career, believing she has to go out on top, and is excited to uplift everybody before she hangs up her boots for good. Saraya's previous retirement came due to a neck injury and forced her to end things in 2018, but now the British star has the chance to end things on her own time. What do you make of Saraya's announcement on an upcoming retirement? Should she retire in AEW or make a return to WWE as Paige and retire there? Let us know down in the comments. Over to AEW Dynamite now, as fans saw a huge rematch from Revolution, with Jon Moxley putting the AEW World title on the line against Cope. The two brutalized each other until the Death Riders arrived, but Cope put Wheeler Yuta through a table before FTR took out Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. Marina Shafir ran out for the save, but Willow Nightingale quickly took her down, but the Patriarchy then got involved, with Kip Sabian arriving to distract Cope. This allowed Nick Wayne to hit Wayne's World, and a bulldog choke by Jon Moxley earned the AEW World Champion the knockout victory. Interestingly, Dax Harwood refused to help Cope up after the match, leaving only Cash Wheeler and Willow to check on him. This was the format AEW should have gone with at Revolution, and even if it was never going to match that card's intensity, this was far more engaging than what fans saw earlier this month. The two men brawled relentlessly, using an array of weapons to inflict damage, including Spike that was planted in the back of the champion by the Rated R superstar. This was one of the most brutal spots in AEW history, and that's saying something, and the referee's struggle to remove it from Moxley was genuinely hard to watch. The interference was excessive but fitting, though the absence of Jay White was notable given how he's been an ally of Cope's for some time now. FTR continues to tease a heel turn, particularly Harwood, and it was more surprising to see him walk out on Cope here than it was when he sided against Undisputed Kingdom on Collision. Overall, this was a solid end to the Cope-Moxley story, but as bigger fan favorites step up next to challenge Moxley, this feud will likely be forgotten for the most part by fans. What did you make of this match? Was it better than Revolution, and do you think Cope should have won the AEW World title? Share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section. It was on last week's Dynamite that MVP offered MJF a Hurt Syndicate business card, seemingly offering the scumbag a spot alongside Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. On this week's show, MJF shared that he'd been weighing up his options and that he'd been thinking about the AEW World Championship he hasn't held in over a year. MJF noted how since Jon Moxley had his Death Riders faction, he might need a crew of his own to even the odds, but is hesitant to rush into anything. He recalled that, "The last time I trusted someone as a partner, I got burned," a nod to his days with Adam Cole, but saying the time for crying over spilled milk is over. Instead, MJF plans on smiling over popped champagne, but stopped short of sharing whether he will be officially aligning with MVP and the Hurt Syndicate. Do you think MJF should join the group in order to even the numbers against the AEW World Champion, or is the scumbag better as a solo act? Let us know below. In four-way action, Speedball Mike Bailey caught Mark Davis with a roundhouse kick before attempting a backslide, but Ricochet slipped in to cover Davis, resulting in a double pin. The referee declared that both men had won the match, which had also featured Orange Cassidy, and that both Ricochet and Bailey had earned an international title match at Dynasty. Everyone played their roles well in this chaotic bout, as Cassidy absorbed most of the offense while Davis served as the powerhouse bruiser. Bailey relied on his speed and agility while Ricochet used his cunning, and this match was structured to maximize the talent involved. There was a humorous moment when Cassidy scored a 1 count, which he argued was a 2 count, poking fun at the cliche argument between wrestlers and officials. This was the best possible outcome for the tournament, and sets up an exciting title defense for Kenny Omega at AEW's next pay-per-view. Bailey's rise so far in AEW, alongside Ricochet's sneaky ways to steal wins, means there's no guarantee of the champion retaining the international title at Dynasty. With the TBS title on the line, Billie Starkz pushed Mercedes Moné to the limit, but the CEO caught Starkz with a statement maker to get the submission win and retain the gold. Despite a few awkward backstage segments, this match was one of the best women's matches on Dynamite in some time, hardly a surprise given the talent of the two involved. Tony Schiavone had a noteworthy line on commentary stating that despite Starkz being 20 years old, this was her 500th match, an incredible stat on the young wrestler. The in-ring chemistry between Moné and Starkz should be explored further in the future, even if the goal of this was to push Moné closer to a showdown with ROH Women's Champ Athena. For those that do not watch Ring of Honor, this was a great reintroduction to Starkz, who will be an integral part of the AEW women's division in the future. With Moné besting another ROH name, fans now wait for Athena to show up, setting up one of the biggest dream matches in a very long time in AEW. For 30 years, Homicide has competed in the ring, but now his career is coming to an end due to the most unfortunate of circumstances. The Latin Tower's last match will be at the Outlaw Wrestling Show, fittingly billed the end of an era on March 20th, where he will compete in a tag team match. Homicide will align with Bull James to face Mike Santana and Alpha Jr. in a match where Homicide handpicked the match type and the opponents. On Facebook, Homicide revealed that a cyst found on his brain has forced him to make the difficult decision to leave the ring for good at 47 years old. Homicide has been dealing with vision and speech issues as a result, and while this will be his last match, Homicide made clear that this is not a goodbye to the fans who have supported him. On this week's Raw, Jey Uso suffered an embarrassing botch as he failed to clear the ropes when diving to the outside of the ring in a moment not too different from Top Dollar. This was certainly not what the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner had intended when diving onto A-Town Down Under, and now Jey has reacted to the moment in question. In a social media post, Jey shared a clip of the dive and said he's going to hit a front flip on the upcoming Raw before ending with a yeet for good measure. Hopefully Jey can avoid another botch like this, as this is the last thing Uso, who many have already been critical of, needs on his unlikely journey to the world title and WrestleMania 41. Now, for better or worse, Logan Paul is able to get people talking, with there being countless fans and critics of the former United States champion. On his latest vlog, Paul listened to a podcast which discussed the current state of politics in the United States, and the Maverick teased plans on entering the White House. In his video, Paul discussed his new show, Paul American, which he said was a nod to his family living the American dream, before teasing a potential political run. He explained, "We're living the modern American dream. Two kids who picked up a cell phone and had access to the internet, made a whole life and career for themselves, and maybe one day we could use our skills in running the greatest country in the world. Paul 2040. While shocking, Paul would hardly be the first name in wrestling to enter politics, with Kane, Jesse Ventura, and others seeing success at the ballot box. With 15 years to go between now and Paul's potential polling day, the WWE star has time to get a campaign ready, and far stranger things have happened in the world of politics. Back to AEW Dynamite now, as AR Fox had an impressive showing, but Will Ospreay was able to duck a 450 splash and hit the hidden blade to get the win. The aerial assassin worked like he was still hurting and seemed to struggle to keep up with his opponent, giving Fox more of a chance than one would expect in this encounter. Perhaps this selling is what made this feel like the weakest match of the night, a rare statement to be given to any Will Ospreay match. With that said, it doesn't mean the match was bad, and if anything, it goes to show the immense talent that was on display for the rest of the show. With Renee Paquette backstage, Hangman Page revealed that he would join the Owen Hart tournament and told Swerve Strickland that he would not let him be world champion again. In the main event, Toni Storm joined commentary to watch Bayne battle Kris Statlander, and Bayne threw Kris into Storm before getting the win with Fate's Descent. Storm wasted no time in brawling with Bayne, and after officials broke it up, the AEW Women's Champion threw down the challenge for a match at Dynasty. A rare women's main event for Dynamite, Statlander and Bayne certainly worked to prove they belonged in the spot with big strikes and an impressive back and forth. Having Bayne win continues to establish her as a threat to Storm for Dynasty, raising questions as to whether Storm will give Bayne her first loss, or if she'll win the gold so quickly into her AEW run. And that was this week's AEW Dynamite, and if something seemed slightly off about the show, there is a reason for that. The show took place at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Omaha, Nebraska, and the region has been under a severe weather alert due to a blizzard. That may explain why there weren't a ton of matches, as some talent won't have been brought in, which did mean wrestlers announced for the show were given plenty of time. After the event, Tony Khan took to Twitter to thank every man, woman, and child who braved a blizzard to be at the show, proving that bad weather couldn't keep the AEW fans away. In 2015, Tyson Kidd's wrestling career was ended due to a neck injury, but it turns out that an attempt was made to get him back in the ring. When Joe DeFalco, owner of the Future Stars of Wrestling promotion, spoke to Fightful, he discussed FSW's upcoming benefit event that will help injured TNA star Chris Bay. DeFalco shared that Rey Mysterio was planning to work the show, and Rey wanted to work with Kidd to face Dominic Mysterio and Karrion Kross in the main event. WWE's ongoing European tour put the end to those plans, but the fact that Kidd was discussed for a match is a sign that his retirement from the ring may not be permanent after all. And we're ending today with WWE Evolve, as the latest episode saw Jordan Oasis and Sam Holloway face Mark and Joe Coffey of Gallus, but the match took a serious turn. During the match, Wolfgang appeared to distract Oasis, who was hit with a stiff forearm by Joe Coffey, knocking the young prospect out cold. Oasis felt like a log but wasn't pinned as the referee stopped the match, and after the bell, Oasis slowly got to his feet with the help of other members of the Evolve roster. At this time, it's unclear if this was a work or a genuine knockout, and if it's the latter, it goes to show how much danger a wrestler puts themselves in every time they get in the ring.